So it's fake. I think that it's.
Yeah, I'd like to sit with you and Eugene sometime. It's payable, like the documents we get for every 2 weeks that we're paying. I just kind of want to get a better understanding of. Oh, I knew you were in the finance, so I didn't want to. Okay. I'll be okay.
I mean, he knows it.
Yeah, and we met over the appropriations. What is going to do 10% about the budget? It was that first budget we did, so it's not called the budget. I like Ethan's.
If you can hear her.
Ms. Martinez, this is Stephen Pig with the Village of Sleepy Hollow. Can you hear us? No, Ms. Martinez?
I mean, she's honorable, yeah.
Okay, you're Mr. Martinez. Okay, we got Mr. Martinez here.
She is trying to listen.
We're just trying to be sure we had a connection with her. Now we know we've got a median here. We can work through you.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 7:30. Let's call the meeting to order. Mr. Gadsden.
Here.
Ms. Thomas.
Here.
Mr. Harney.
Here.
Ms. McGuire.
Here.
Mr. Thorne.
Here.
Mr. Poe.
Here.
We've got 6 trustees, that's a quorum, we've got a meeting, we can move forward. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of June 20th, 2023?
So move the other.
Second.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Thorne. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? There being none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you all. Before we go into let's start the president's report and do the civility pledge. Ms. Thomas, you do the civility pledge for us.
Sorry. I got home and I got one.
Got one, okay.
In the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving any objective.
Okay, thank you. All right, before we begin this evening, we do have a resident who is attending remotely, who happens to be located in Paris this evening. So, in observance of the difference in time zones, it's somewhere around 2 a.m. over there, maybe 3. If we could have a motion to amend the agenda to move her presentation from the 8 o'clock time slot up to now. Moved by McGuire, seconded by Thomas. Any discussion, concerns, questions? If not, all in favor of amending the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We have amended the agenda and we have taken Mrs. Martinez and Mr. Martinez's petition up. Let's see, what do we have here? We've got the renewal of the license agreement for 1208 timber.
Yes.
Okay, this is actually a renewal. It was originally done 2013, 12, something like that. With the original owners of the property who have since sold and have left it with the Martinez, and they now need to renew this agreement. Any comments, questions, or discussion about it? Okay, it is a parking plan.
Yeah, what's the agreement?
Well, okay.
Initially, the previous owners came to the village and noted that because of the design of their driveway, in the winter time especially, they had difficulties getting up in and out of the garage, and asked for permission to create a parking space or 2 parking spaces at the bottom of the driveway, which just happens to be technically within the right of way of Timber Drive. So the village allowed that, according to plans that they had submitted. And they were, to pay an annual, a very slight annual fee, and they did that, and then let it lapse when they left the property or sold the property. And the current owners would like to renew that and have the opportunity to use those spaces on the same conditions. There's no change to the original terms and conditions of the agreement, just what would be the proper identification of the property owners at this time, and then they would take over. And I forget, there is some end date that's there. It allows either party to terminate the agreement again. Moving forward. So it's before the board for approval tonight. Mr. Martinez is present.
Yes.
Ms. Martinez was attempting to
Attempting.
log in by phone from, she had flown overseas. as part of
I am here.
And
Yes.
hope to sit in on the meeting that way. So if there are any questions.
And this, okay.
We could talk about them now.
I was just gonna say, so this is over on Timber, and then this is that little lane that just goes between the two houses, that's a dead end. And the parking is that area, that right of way?
No, it's within the street right of way. There is a easement that goes up to Hilltop Lane. And is a drainway. That's not affected. This is along Timber Drive at the bottom of that driveway.
Like here's their driveway and here's the parking pits.
Okay, but it's already established, it's not, we're not creating any.
That's what I say. We established this back in 2012-13. The property was just sold within this past year. And this just needs to be brought forward.
Just got turned around with that little lane. I mean, makes sense to me.
Gravel now, or did it do anything to change?
That's paved.
It's paved now. Okay.
It's been in existence there for
Yeah, okay,
I wish.
almost 10 years.
okay.
And it's just a renewal. It's $5 a year.
I have no problem with it.
It actually, I stand corrected. It's both within the right of way of Timber Lane and that easement area. It's what direction is that? It's south of where you see the cement structures coming down the hill.
Okay.
So it doesn't obstruct that, but it actually is within that easement area as well.
We could have a motion to approve the license agreement with 1208 Timber.
I approve.
Second, yeah.
Moved by Thomas, seconded by Diatley to approve the license agreement between the village and the owners of 1208 Timber Drive, the Martinez, for a sum of $5 per year for parking spaces within the right of way. Any other comments, questions, or discussion?
It would have been nice to have a plat map that we could refer to. Just to look at it. I know it's a renewal, but it would have been nice to have a plat map. Just for.
Duly noted. I'm sorry.
You can't distribute it, but we do have it.
Okay, oh, no, I don't.
And Ms. Dutmer has a record of where these things are located. Just didn't think to put that in the meeting package.
Okay, other than that, any questions or comments? Well, yes, roll call please. This is a contract agreement. Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Bo.
Aye.
Ms. Thomas.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
Mr. Hardy.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, and motion so carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Mr. Martinez, you're all done. You can call your wife or she can. It's all done.
She tried.
Thank you. Thank you. I hear
It
everyone.
was gonna be a record breaker first time we had a resident in from Paris.
Thank you.
Sure. thing.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, now moving on to the president's report. President has a big thank you to the service club. The fireworks on Saturday and the picnic and parade and water festival yesterday at the park. and it was enjoyed by all. I also like to thank the police department for their efforts both on Saturday and on Tuesday, on both the days. I'd also like to thank the County Office of Emergency Management for their assistance with this past weekend. And last but not least, a shout out to Mr. Bill Hoff. Bill, thanks for what you're doing. Guys, a few people realize that how much work is involved in keeping the park cleaned up, and have realized that Public Works has not had a part-time employee for almost 5 years now. So,
Did you not, don't think?
you got this year.
Volunteer.
It's a volunteer, I said. We tried to clone it and put the clone in the refrigerator in the Public Works building.
It looks so good.
We thank you, Bill, and appreciate it.
Great job, yes.
Okay, that's it for the president's report, clerk's report. I have no report tonight. Thank you, Tony. Planning and zoning, Mrs. Detmer.
The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing June 26, 2023 regarding the proponents, i.e. Bernard and Mary Jensen's request for variance from the village zoning regulations, specifically the 15% maximum lot area coverage required by section 8-3A1 permitted principal uses in the R1 districts, and providing no single family residence and attached garage shall occupy or cover more than 15% of the total lot area. And the public hearing was appropriately published June 9th, 2023 in the Daily Herald newspaper. As part of your packets, I asked that they include the application so that you could see pictures and better understand what they have. And I'm not going to take everybody's time reading the findings of fact unless you wish me to do so to read it into the record. But basically, while the Planning and Zoning Commission recognizes that this is a want and perhaps not a need, they can't get to their want because of the restrictions on this particular lot. It's one of the smaller lots on Holly Court, and when the new house was built, it just because of normal construction variation from plans, it ended up just slightly over the 15% lot area coverage that's allowed. And they actually want to put this sunroom, screen porch, whichever you wish to call it, on just part of the patio that actually exists now. And it won't go past the back wall of the garage and won't really impact any of the neighborhood. And therefore, with unanimous, based on the findings of fact that you have in your packets, the Planning and Zoning Commission wishes to recommend to the village board approval of the request and approval of the variance. The Jensens are here if you wish to query them on what they're proposing. They can probably tell you that in better area than I can, but again, with the submittal, you can see the drawings that they have proposed. They have not come in for permit, obviously, because I'd have to immediately reject it because of that requirement. So it would enhance their living in the village of Sleepy Hollow, as I'm sure you're well aware that they grow mosquitoes the size of Canada around here, especially after these rains. And they just like to be able to better enjoy the property by having the screened-in porch, which they used to have one in their previous residence and very much enjoyed having their morning coffee with the rain pitter patters upon the roof and that type of thing. So they,
Okay, any questions?
Well, seeing how it fits in and the drawings, wouldn't have any problem with it at all. I think it would be.
I've
a
looked
good
at it.
enhancement.
The findings of fact
Yeah,
conclude with,
yeah,
support their conclusion.
exactly.
Yes. I
All
agree.
right. All right. Anything else, Ms. Detmer?
No, sir, not on this project.
Okay, well then it gets picked up at the next item. Moving on to the next individual. Brian's report.
Well, I thought that there was an ordinance, there is an ordinance that I prepared that would grant this variance. The clerk tells me it's not in the meeting package.
No, we didn't receive it.
So. probably best to just put this over to the next meeting, so all the trustees have a chance to read the ordinance through, but it's pretty straightforward. It would say that the variance of the 15% lot coverage would be granted for the property at 903 Holly Court. The conditions would only be that appropriate building permit be obtained and that the work be commenced within 1 year of the date of this, the passage of the ordinance. I think the owners wanted it started right away, so that shouldn't be a problem, but that type of condition just prevents this grant of variance from sitting on ice for a period of time if plans change after the grant is awarded. So I'm not sure why it didn't get in the package. We'll figure that out, and it'll be before you for the next meeting.
You can't vote on it now.
You should have it. Is that a particular problem, the owner?
It's just.
2 more weeks?
No, that's.
We'll have to run to ground what happened here, but
We probably wouldn't start till probably fall anyway.
Okay.
do you have building plans?
No, sir.
They
No,
can't.
we don't.
So you're gonna need to submit for a building permit anyway. You could get that process started whenever you're ready. And the consensus of the board tonight is to go ahead and grant the variance, I think. So
Thank you.
you want
Do you
to
have
check
any
in
issues
next
with
meeting?
starting the process?
No, sir. No.
You can start the process. We'll take care of our back end in a couple of weeks.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Later on.
Later
Not at
on.
this time.
All right, thank you, Mark. Okay, engineer report. The engineer sent his update. I hope you read it. So there is no update. So that takes us on to Director of Finance, Mr. Van.
Request a motion for the approval of the warrants in the amount of $119,575.80.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Thorne, seconded by Harney to approve the accounts payable of July 5th, 2023 in the amount of $119,575.80. Do we have any additions, deletions, comments, questions? One thing I point out is the warrants this month or this week carry the $750 payment to the county task force, which if you're not familiar with it, is probably one of the best investments we make. If the chief and the police ever need assistance, such as we needed about 6 years ago, 5 years ago, in Saddle Club, when we had the home invasion. If you saw the response that we got in that, that's the $750 a month or year that we pay for. And it's well worth it. But other than that, I just wanted to make a comment that that was in there. Any other questions on the warrants? If not, roll call, please. Ms. Bo.
Aye.
Mr. Thornton.
Aye.
Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
Mr. Hardy. Ms. Thomas.
Aye.
Mr. Dell.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes in motion, so carries.
That's it for this thing.
That's it. All right. Thank you, Eugene. Okay, the next one is public comments. Do you have any? No. No, we don't. Okay, Mr. Clark puts his name on it.
Yes, all right, so I wanted to give a quick update. Somebody hold me to 5 minutes on 4th of July. And, you know, fortunately, President Bacon covered a lot of the things that the club wanted to say. And I'm here representing the president of the club who is out on, you know, can't get out of bed because of medical. So a quick shout out to everybody who got this event going. And I'm not just talking about what we did between the 1st and the 5th to get it all, you know, put together and executed. It goes back way, you know, almost to that last year. People in the village who work in the village or volunteer in the village helped bring all this together. I gotta tell you, I've done this 20 years, and probably the last 5 have been the smoothest, easiest years that I've ever done, getting liquor license, stuff like that. And even when things go wrong, and things do go wrong, state changes regulations, stuff like that, people react, they get things done, so it makes it a lot easier. I've already mentioned before the meeting about the trustees and the pie eating contest. So a couple things. July 1st, we had our fireworks. We attribute probably to the weather, to other shows going on, but our attendance was down, probably to the record lowest attendance we've ever had. And then on top of that, fireworks, even though the rain held off, fireworks at some point just kind of stopped. And we're not sure what's going on there. We've not heard back from the fireworks department. But anyone who was there was kind of wondering why is the show so short, and the finale didn't seem to coincide with the rest of the show. We're digging into that, and we'll probably have more updates on our Facebook page or somewhere around that. So with the low attendance, though, everything was pretty easy, pretty smooth. And my compliments to the chief and working with OEM. You know, that's gotten to the point where we don't even think about it anymore. I mean, just these people we don't know just show up and pull it off, and it works. And you know, it's great time. Even without the chief here, all the people just really did a great job. July 4th, that was probably one of the top 5 July 4ths I've ever been through. And it goes to a couple things. You know, when we started the park cleanup, 1 million people seemed to have come out and help with all the brush cutting and, you know, putting in flowers and trimming and all that stuff. And then when we were done, those people who always get named, Bill Hoff, Kyle, Dylan, they came behind us and did even more. And, you know, on the 3rd, when we were doing setup, we looked around the field and looking at all the work that had been done, and it was amazing. It has never looked as good as it looks now. So then we did the 4th, everything went great on the 4th. It was a little hot, and that suppressed beer sales and food sales and stuff like that. And we had a few people who the heat got to them, but it was the largest car show we've ever seen. Yeah, we had a ton of people on that field, and the field looked great. And I did another shout out to the guy who cut the grass. Yeah, it was so much easier without having to flock through even 2 days or 3 days of grass. You know, everyone just stuck around for a long time. And then, you know, the club, a bunch of us stayed around. We normally do cleanup on the 5th. A bunch of us just stuck around and made sure, you know, everything was taken down and put away from the 1st and the 4th. And about 8 of us went back to the shelter to just button things up. And, you know, the clouds broke, the sun came out, a little bit of a breeze, and we looked around. And I say, if you haven't been down to the park in the last week, go down there now, because it's just never going to look any better than that's a great time. Yeah. Quick note. A few people approached club members about coming to the next meeting, and the next meeting is, despite always being on the 1st Tuesday every month, the next meeting is on the 2nd Tuesday of the month, because the 1st Tuesday is National Night Out, and we'll be at National Night Out in Carpenter's Park. If you want to come out and hang with us and sell hot dogs as part of that effort, everyone's welcome to come. But otherwise, you know, we're the 2nd Tuesday of August, and then we'll go back to our regular schedule. So that's it. So thanks everyone for coming out.
Thank you.
Good job, John.
Okay. Moving on to trustee reports, roads and parks, Mr. Harney.
I met with Kyle lately, a little background, for some time now. He's been looking for a full-time 3rd person to work for Public Works. He finally has an applicant that he's giving serious consideration to. He would like to offer him the job with a beginning salary of $20 an hour. He's asking for authority from the board to hire this individual. I might add, we head off questions. It has been budgeted for. If you want specifics, Eugene's standing by. But that's what he's asking for, authority to hire this individual.
We have a motion,
Consider that a motion.
Second.
moved by Arnie, seconded by Thorne to authorize the hiring of a Jalen Jones for a full-time public works position at a salary of $20 an hour, along with all the other benefits. Assuming that he passes all his various physicals and requirements.
Right.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? If not, it's a monetary item. Roll call, please.
Ms. Thomas,
Hi.
Ms. McGuire,
Hi.
Ms. Bo,
Hi.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Hardy,
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, and Mr. Killinger, thanks. Okay,
Oh, one other little thing you may have noticed if you were down at the 4th of July. We've been trying to do this for over a year, but we finally got the drinking fountain in.
so when you get around it, I couldn't see it.
And to save a little money, we have taken it off city water and we ran a hose over to Lake Sharon.
Vitamins and protein and one time.
That's good thinking, Ed. Good thinking.
Healthy algae.
That's all I have to do.
Organic.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Finance, Mr. Thorne.
Yeah, we have so a software upgrade that we're looking at, and I'll pass things over to Mr. Van to tell you more about that.
The software we're using is MSI, it's Harris Local Government. It was put into use probably in the late 90s. They have developed a new, more integrated program that's using a SQL server. I don't know all the details of that part of it. But the main thing that I'm really looking for is that they have now contracted with this other company that would allow an integration of the utility billing so that the residents could look up their own utility bills instead of calling us, and that they can, do all the payments online, and it's a much more integrated system. They just signed the contract with this other company, and so I'm looking forward to that. I had budgeted in this current fiscal year for $12,000, and I've talked to them, and it looks like we can get this for about $6,700. If we don't do it now, the cost for the conversion is going to go up about $700. So it's a little bit of a savings for doing this at this point. We're not going to be billed or anything like that until we actually do the conversion, which will be, I'm looking towards April or May, in order to start the new fiscal year with the new software.
Okay. So the total price is $6,725 plus the $765 for maintenance.
So with the 765 is we're paying about $11,000 a year currently for maintenance. So this would be an additional $765 on top of
I
that.
was gonna say that seems like a really.
Yeah, yeah. But the nice thing about it is that right now, everything is a separate module, and you have to do separate sign-ins and stuff like that. And we're having a little bit of a problem with having two people on the system at the same time, and using the new system is supposed to take care of all those problems. Training is zero training because none of our procedures are going to change. It's just a different type of back end, but the front end is going to be exactly the same as it is now.
And then with the access to the utility bills, who maintains that site? Like if there's issues.
That'd be the other
call them.
company. Yeah.
Okay. Motion to approve the purchase of the new MSI 10 accounting package. With one caveat, it will not include that dot matrix.
Oh, that I don't know about. That I don't know about.
Oh, man, they should have eliminated that in 1983.
One of the features of this is that, it uses this, I think it's a Stonefield query. Right now, we have this relativity thing that just dumps it into an Excel spreadsheet, but this Stonefield is much more like crystal reports, which is something that I've used in the past. And we can create our own reports and then maybe be able to get around that.
Okay. Just one of my
No,
pet
I agree.
peeves for the last 20 years,
Yes.
reading those reports.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't change it. It's just always that dot matrix looking stuff, so. Have a motion to so approve.
I move.
Moved
Second,
by Bo, seconded by Thorne to approve the purchase of the MSI RAM at a price of $675, $6,725 plus the annual support of $765.82. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
There will be some minor, fees like, it's part of the terms and condition, so that they have to, travel to come here to physically install it and stuff like that, so it's gonna be a minor amount.
They're not traveling from
No,
Baja. or
No.
anything.
they got local people to be able to do that.
Eugene, we've used MSI years ago and their support is really good.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, no other comments, questions, or discussion, roll call please.
Mr. Hardy.
Aye.
Ms. McGuire,
Aye.
Ms. Thomas,
I,
Mr. Thorne,
aye,
Ms. Bo,
Aye.
Mr. Devon.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries. Thank you all.
and that's all I have for finance.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Water and sewer. Ms. Bo.
No report today.
Thank you, Courtney. Police and public safety, Mr. Diatley.
Yes, with the adjustment of the personal time adjustment, we need to. You need a motion on that then? I would like to make a motion that we approve the officer's personal time adjustment request that were discussed
At the last.
at the last meeting in executive session.
Second,
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Thorne to approve the, let's see, what do we got here? The officer's personal time adjustments, request as were presented at the executive session last month. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, roll call please.
Ms. Bo.
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
aye,
Ms. Thomas,
I,
Mr. Hardy,
Aye.
Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, and the motion so carries. Thank you all.
Thank you, nothing further.
Nothing that- Okay, thank you, Steve.
Oh, excuse me, chief has one thing.
Just very, I'm not gonna reiterate all the thanks that went around, just for the boards. I do have to thank my department. I was not at the fireworks show, even though it's a mandatory event that we all be at. I was at my daughter's wedding. Pretty sure that one had to take precedence, but I want to thank all my officers and the OEM staff for everything they did to make this event go off as well as it did. Everybody did a great job. The only other thing is I just want to let you guys know, I did approve another block party permit. It's going to be on Darien Court, just in the court itself, on the 22nd of this month.
All right. Good. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Steve. Next item is building environment. Mr. McGuire.
No reports.
Oh, come on now. When you approve the warrants, you paid the bill for the roof on the salt water, which has only taken us about 8 years to get done. And that's a reason to call for a celebration right there. Okay, thank you. Building and zoning.
just a couple of things. Thank you for helping me with the Pine Cone Lane. President Pickett and I were discussing, and I think, I don't know if we talked to the board about it, but there's a resident at Pine Cone Lane that was looking to, they bought some equipment, the HOA did, to clean up Pine Cone Lake. And they were looking to get a shed. And due to what President Pickett had found for the school shed, we were able to incorporate that at Pinecone Lane because they have more than 10 acres. So with that being said, the resident, Barb, I did talk to them for you, and they are going to submit a permit, or request for a permit when they get back, because they have, they're on grandbaby watch. They're traveling to, they've got a couple daughters that are in grandbabies. So when they get back in a few weeks, they will be submitting that permit. So we'll be hearing from them shortly.
Okay.
And then also, there was an issue with I did it, it's a VRBO or whatever, and thank you to Jeff Black for working with myself and two others. I had several calls from several residents in that area. And did find out that they do get the VRBO. They tried to pull a fast one, so that is being looked at, and I believe they have, Mark, I think you issued a thing for a court date for August 2nd. Jeff was telling me he was in contact with you, so I think there's a court date August 2nd for that.
Leave the next one.
So, yeah, some things came up with that you found out. And so that's what I have right now.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you, Kelly. It finishes the trustee reports and move into old business. There's no old business this evening. We move into new business, ordinance 2023-8.
Mr. President, the chief and I looked over the regulations in the village regarding towing or seizure and impoundment of motor vehicles that are involved in certain criminal or misdemeanor activities, and found that the village's list does not match the current and updated state authorizations. So the state of Illinois and the Illinois Vehicle Code has provided that local municipalities, for a list of reasons, may seize and impound motor vehicles. So this ordinance is simply to update the village code to match what's in the state ordinances and make it uniform. The officers, of course, when they're trained, are told of what the state authorizations are, and this will just match up the village list to the state list.
This will be ordinance 2023-8.
Correct.
Ordinance amending section 5-6-1 of the village code book. Do we have a motion?
amen. Second,
Moved by Bo, seconded by Thomas to approve ordinance 2023-8, amending section 5-6-1 of the village code. Any further comments, questions, or discussion?
How many were we missing?
Pardon me?
How many were we missing from our list?
The ordinance has got the underlying, I think the last three.
Okay,
One is has to do with protecting funeral processions. If you remember, some time ago, there were some incidents of protesters getting involved in that. I can't remember. The other is if a warrant was outstanding for your arrest and you were stopped for some other reason, then the vehicle could be seized and held. The last one is any other felony or misdemeanor that the village might designate could be added. So it was largely because of the warrant and the funeral procession business was the main focus. And then a little bit of it is just to make the language match exactly. For whatever reason, when it was first drafted, it was somewhat different in a couple of minor ways. So I thought we'd just match it up completely so there's no confusion about what's what.
okay, thanks.
Any other questions, comments? If not,
How often do we do this? How often does this happen?
As far as impounding vehicles,
Yeah,
a couple times a week. That happens, whether somebody gets arrested for driving while license suspended or DUI or driving while license revoked or something like that. This particular question came up because we had a vehicle that was, or a person that was arrested and their license, and the arrest was based on or the warrant was issued based on a driving while license suspended, which is in our current ordinance. Question was posed to me as to whether our list of what the officers could impound cars for matched our ordinance. And the answer was yes, and I said, well, let's verify it, and I went through the entire ordinance, and I said, no, it doesn't match. So that was when I reached out to Mark and said, yeah, we need to get this to match, and Mark took care of it for us.
Those are the most common, aren't they?
Absolutely.
DUI and suspended or revoked.
Yeah, or no valid license.
No, oh, that's the third one. If you have no valid license at all, or your license has been expired more than 1 year, the vehicle could be seized. And, but these others aren't as common. Those, that's what I see in court, of course, is DUI, DWLS. Predominant.
Questions, Tony? One more, roll call, please.
Ms. Bo,
Aye.
Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
Ms. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Hardy.
Aye.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
Ms. Thomas.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries. Well. Okay, any other new business? We do have executive session again this evening. This one is executive session according to section 2C21 of the Open Meetings Act. Executive session minutes.
Oh, you're required to review executive session minutes periodically to determine if the reason that they are withheld from disclosure no longer requires that withholding, and they could be released. So it's just to ministerial functions to be done every so often, and tonight's tonight.
We've been waiting for it for 3 years. We have a motion to adjourn to executive session. Or section 2C21 of the Open Meetings Act.
So moved, yeah.
Second.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Thomas. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
Ms. Thomas.
Aye.
Ms. Bo.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
Mr. Hunt.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes. We are going to go into executive session. Bye, all.
Yeah.
You're free to go.